Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Our next conversation is focusing on the MRCP training program taking place from tomorrow till the 21st of September at the Government Plaza Complex right here in our capital city of Port of Spain. Joining us is Dr. Brent Bartholomew, Director of Mederi Consultancy Limited, to share a bit more. Good morning, Dr. Bartholomew.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's great to have you with us on the show this morning, and especially to speak about this training program, which really is, I will say, critical to some careers. So let's start at the beginning. What is the MRCP?
So it's a membership of the Royal College of Physicians examination in internal medicine.
Okay. So, and of course not based in Trinidad and Tobago, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and this training program is preparation for the MRCP and exams particularly. So what exactly is it preparing you for in the realm of examinations and future?
So it goes for making you a professional doctor. It goes for in making you to a senior doctor to make decisions on the shop floor. It helps you with career progression. Most doctors, when they finish medical school, it's normally 5 years and then they do no exams. And the MRCP gives you the clinical skill set in helping your knowledge, helping your clinical skills in regarding that.
You know, it's funny as you mention that, because one of the things that I've always found with friends who are doctors is the fact that they seem to be always studying. They go through, what, 5 years, sometimes it feels like 7 years of school, and then they're back in school again. So this is quite interesting that now we have this being offered here, giving some insight as to why they're always in school. So how does this training program prepare you? Because from what I've learned so far, it's definitely hands-on.
Yes. It is very, very hands-on. The training program, it's a 3-day course. This is the second time we did it. We did it in February for the first time in the region, and it was a success with 30 doctors. And it is actually doing the doctors for clinical examination, hands-on clinical examination. I'll give you an example of how this is important for the doctors. You have a doctor on the shop floor has to make a clinical diagnosis. You have a patient in front of you, have to make a clinical diagnosis on what's going on with the patient. Now, in this world where we have resources, it's very difficult to get resources. A junior doctor will then offer CT, MRI, blood tests, just a battery of tests, unnecessary tests. The MRC gives you the skill set, the education to actually make a diagnosis and make a differential diagnosis and have a specific test for your patient. So you don't have to, the patient doesn't have to go through a CT scan with radiation, MRIs and different things, and this is very costly to the patient. So having a doctor train and having the professional knowledge regarding MRCP, this will help everybody in the long run, and it has to be patient-centered.
It does have to be patient-centered. I think something you said there would have spoken to people who are not in the medical field, but of course need that medical attention. When you speak about bringing that training that will remove some of these battery of tests, as you would have said, because it can be costly, but it can also be quite mentally challenging as well. And that's something that's also critical to practicing in the field, having the communication skills and the mental fortitude. How does the training program focus on that?
So you mentioned communication skills. This course we did in February, the candidates asked for an extra day just to deal with communication. The skills they get from the course is like breaking bad news, how to break bad news, dealing with angry patients, putting you in that scenario, making a diagnosis, how you actually deal with that patient. And mentioning this, we've bring something for the first time in Trinidad, and in the UK we've been using VR, where we have virtual reality. We have you with a VR headset, and you're putting you in the UK in the center, breaking bad news to a patient, and you're actually seeing and you're feeling that you're in the process. This is something I do in my hospital in the UK, and I brought it back home.
It's beautiful, and congratulations. Definitely incorporating technology into the medical field. We see the leaps and bounds that are being made, but knowing now that this is being incorporated into hands-on training definitely is going to make a difference, because there's no better time than being in the moment itself. Now, let's speak about when the training program has ended here in Trinidad and Tobago. What opportunities would become available for those candidates who are successful in the exams?
So it is internationally recognized all over the region, the Caribbean and the UK, Australia. So it gives that person that opportunity that you have studied at that standard of MRCP. You're a member of the Royal College of Physicians, it's well recognized. career opportunities, career opportunities. The consultant is happy that his junior doctor, which will become his registrar, is able to manage the shop floor, and he or she does not need to be in the hospital. And that person will give a proper account of their patient, and he will decide if he or she needs to come into hospital or they can be able to manage the patient.
Dr. Bartholomew, just for clarification, when you mention junior doctor, are you speaking about those who will be under the consultant, or is it dependent on the amount of years that they've been in service already?
And that's where it goes. We have a lot of doctors in Trinidad has a lot of experience. I know they come up to the UK to the course, and that's one of the things that I brought back to come and give back to Trinidad, give back home, give back something from home. It is the question of, sorry, just repeat that question.
Oh, I was asking about that. In fact, there are so many things that we're talking about right now, which is the difference between a junior doctor and a consultant, because you've been referencing it, but of course not in the medical field.
So experience, a lot of doctors has experience, but qualification, MRCP gives you qualification. You have studied the exams consist of 3 exams, part 1, part 2, which is knowledge, and the second part, the third part is to do with the practical skills.
Okay.
All right, so you are certified on that in internal medicine, and it then gives you the opportunity to go and you specialize. Say you want to be a cardiologist, a heart doctor, you have studied at the standard where you can now enter that training program as to go from there.
Oh, excellent. Now, one of the things that definitely stood out as well is that with the theme of this training program, something that was really indicated was beyond memorization. Why was that chosen?
It's such a thing that when we do med school, it's bulk. To study for medicine is a bulk. But human being, you can't remember everything. You just can't just remember all the different syndromes and what's going on from there. So you have to take a history, listening to the patient, finding out what's going on from the patient, and dealing with that patient's concerns and managing their concerns related to that. You can't just memorize. You will come with me. How you present with chest pain is different from another colleague presenting with chest pain. It's all different from there. So if you try to memorize, this is how a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, has happened, you'll be in trouble on the point of, because my elderly patients will say, "Doctor, I don't have chest pain. I have tightness in my chest." To them, you have to understand that tightness in the chest means that patient is having a heart attack.
Right.
And that comes from clinical skills and clinical experience. So you can't just memorize. You have to have the knowledge and the skills. And the course gives you that skill set. It gives you working forward to do the skill set. Now, the course is 3 days, but prior to the course, so 6 weeks in the UK, I have seminars with the with the doctors, actually preparing them for the course.
Excellent.
So it's a whole package.
It sounds like a whole package as well, and as you are, of course, a senior lecturer at the Imperial College of London, one can only begin to imagine the depth of information, the breadth of information that you're going to be able to share. Now, you mentioned, of course, it's starting tomorrow. It's ending on the 21st. Quite a lot, so I'm sure it's quite comprehensive and concise as well. Let's speak about the contribution portion of this, of course, keeping in mind that this is something that essentially would be removing that portion of having to travel, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. This is I started this course on the premise that I teach a lot of MRCP in the UK and several courses in the UK, and a number of the Trinidad doctors would come up to the UK. Course of flight, accommodation, transport, time off work. In the UK, the medical doctors do 2 courses. One to prepare them, and the second one as a run-through, because you don't want to do this exams, the MRCP exams, over and over. It's just very costly. So this makes a lot of people in the region have the opportunity, because I'm bringing 3 doctors from the UK actually to come down to deliver the same package that we do in the UK. So course-wise, it is much cheaper to participate in the course in Trinidad than in the UK. Yeah, so that's why there's a course attached to the
Understood.
program.
Understood completely. Of course, if you would like more information, you can send an email to info@pacesuccess.com, or you can either call or WhatsApp 468-1834. The information is at the bottom of your screen. Dr. Bartholomew, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It has been a pleasure, and looking forward to seeing many doctors continue to benefit from this, and of course, the positive impact it's going to have on our healthcare system.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. Dr. Brent Bartholomew here with us this morning, discussing how you can prepare for the upcoming MRCP exams. Stay tuned, your birthdays are coming up after this break.